Welcome to Weekly Open. I'm Brian, here with the other crew in just a second. We're brought to you by Blockfolio. Go to weeklyopen.com/Blockfolio to check it out. It's a great trading experience. You can also track your portfolio, watch it bleed out or recover. We'll find out today. It's got all the same portfolio tracking you've known and loved since 2014, but you can trade there. It's also a great fiat on-ramp and off-ramp. If you haven't tried it, it's your bad because it's fantastic. Find it on any app store. Make your first trade on Blockfolio today. Once again, that's weeklyopen.com/Blockfolio. Thanks to our friends at Blockfolio for being a partner. It's me for the first time in 3 weeks, and then we've got Luke and Don who've been holding down the fort with Josh. Josh is traveling today. Luke, hello.
What's going on, man? Good to have you back.
It's great to be here with you guys again. Don, what's up, buddy?
Not much. I mean, the market's a little bit up.
Yeah, the market is teasing some support. Don, have you taken your victory lap yet for calling the top, saying it looked like trash, and then doing absolutely nothing other than catching the bottom wick, getting instantly 30% profit on spot, selling, and then enjoying your week? Because that was epic.
No, I mean, kind of, but not really.
Not enough.
The thing is, like with crashes, right? It sucks, like taking the victory lap.
All your friends are lost.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I could be going on and on and on and like retweet all this shit, but like no one really cares, right? Everyone.
Yeah, all they know is their portfolios are down 50% because they didn't listen to Don and Cred.
Yeah, but then again, like, I mean, it's just trading, right? Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong, and that turned out to be right. So
yeah. Luke, how you been, man? You been dabbling back in this market at all?
Been good. I mean, not really. Like, I think I've made one Bitcoin trade in the past week. This morning, I'm so tempted to trade XRP. I haven't done it yet. I've been looking at the chart all morning, but not really, man. Like, it is so hard to get excited. Like, Don, you tweeted this morning, and you said $100 up, we're back in a bull market. $100 back down, we're in a bear market, and like, you know, it's hilarious, but it is kind of how it feels right now. Like, the market's super sensitive to, if we put in a 2%, everyone's super bullish. Then if we put in, you know, back down another 2%, it's like, oh no, we're definitely going to break the recent lows. So it's like, I'll kind of wait. I think even if we have an explosive move out of this range, there's going to be way more opportunities to jump back in. So not too excited, man. Chilling. I wish I was on a beach like you've been doing it the past couple weeks. How's the trip?
Dude, it was a terrible time to go to the beach.
That's true. That's true.
Family, it's like this combined thing. Your family that only knows crypto has been up on the year. They're like, man, how's everything going? Has it been awesome? And it's like, well, I'm down 30% on my entire portfolio in the past 24 hours. And then your family that follows it a little bit, or your friends, they're like, dude, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. But it's hard to get away from the chart. I have been, I knew to wait. Like I was too late trying to like take some spot off as things were breaking down. I was literally in the car for like 5 hours, and I woke up and it was another 15% down, that kind of stuff. But I did start scalping it with modest levels of portfolio percentage, just to be trying to stay in tune with the market, you know. Gainsey talks about that sometimes. Plus, like, all the leverage got wiped. So I was like, if I'm going to play with leverage, now's the time. So I've been using low leverage and playing some of the middle time frame moves and just looking at everything in ETH relative terms, trading ETH. And that's gone okay. So up in ETH, don't know in USD, don't care. Because
never looking.
Yeah. So like I maintain my like my ETH bull narrative for the year, and we'll see where I determine whether that's over or not. But that's kind of how I'm looking at it. I want to stack ETH, and if I'm going to use any margin, I'm going to do it now. Horcrux method, been talking about that a lot. You know, like break your portfolio out to different pieces. If you blow one up because you're stupid in one place, you don't die. And then you know, funding's wiped, and it's like hugely volatile. It's not the worst time to trade low time frame volume if you're going to do it. But Don, you want to give us the breakdown of like important levels, maybe starting with Bitcoin, and then we can talk about ETH and go down the list.
Yeah, I can. Bitcoin on the weekly, I think that's the most important chart to look at. Bitcoin weekly, we kind of crashed. Like I can't call this anything but a crash, right? We crashed into support, but instead of like kind of floating on top of it, which would have been bullish, we kind of just broke right into it, and that makes me think like, yeah, the lower boundary held, but the upper boundary has been holding so far as well. And that's where like all my confidence in the sideways market has been coming from in the last 2 weeks. We closed in the middle of a support cluster. And whenever that happens, like after a crash like this, usually just means we're going to go sideways in this thing. And that's still what I'm expecting. Like anything above 38K, you're getting into a higher time frame, like kind of sell area. Anything below 32K or like into 32K, that's a good buy. Until this kind of breaks in one direction.
But if it just goes hyper sideways on that that level, it feels like distribution, right?
Kind of, yeah. But then again, like even if this wants to go up, I think we need a little bit of sideways. So if this goes like it's this kind of weird spot where I just think like bulls and bears want the same thing, this to go sideways, and then we'll see where this breaks, right? If this breaks to the upside, I could see it easily go to like 43, 45, maybe even 50. And then that's where it really decides where it wants to go. And if this breaks downward, I think there's either we're going to just break downward, rate like 28K, like go down below it, and then immediately snap back up, in which case I think we would still go to like 45, 50K afterwards, or we just go to all the way down to 20K, and I think that's going to be a great buy.
How similar are these USD charts between BTC and ETH on the macro? Are they basically the same thing, or?
No, Bitcoin looks completely different to ETH. Like it's crazy how different. Like look at ETH on the weekly. I mean, that looks, when you have log chart off, looks so bad.
Yeah, but log chart on, it actually looks like better. I would say it looks a lot more constructive.
It looks like a bearish retest or a bullish retest.
It's not that crazy.
I mean,
until you look at the percentages.
Yeah, that's
completely
like this looks like a bubble top when you have like the log chart off, and then when you put it on, it's like, okay, we moved up so much. This might be just a reset. For me, it's really rough. Like the higher time frames for ETH are really rough. I'm just gonna bid low, and if I get it, I'm gonna be happy, and if not, I'm just gonna be trading Bitcoin.
You know, the best parallel to me, and this is, you know, y'all needed the Hopi on the past couple of weeks. It's a good thing I wasn't on here to provide it, but well, I guess last week would have been okay. But
yeah,
May 2017 also looked like a bubble top at 400 on ETH. You remember the giant epic consolidation back there? If you go to on the far left side of your chart, no, 2017. You had it. You can stay on that zoomed in, slightly zoomed in. Go a little wider. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. So that consolidation between April and, or you know, like when it topped right there.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think you can make a case that it's the exact same thing as that. If the macro sticks together, like I think you'll have to wall of worry through everything. So like people may get excited, but then 3,800 or something like that fails on the top side, and then you see like, can you print a higher low, yada yada, and I think you can end up with a multi-month consolidation and go from there and see like if you blow the full cycle off. That's the bull market case to me, is that ETH can manage something like that. I have no idea how that fits in the narrative of all Bitcoin, you know, all crypto. But I could very much see that happening, because all the fundamentals have not changed from what at least I was excited about before. You know, I'm not going to be super bearish going into 1559, going into layer 2 scaling, yada yada. If those things underperform the hype or whatever else, then maybe it'd be problematic. But that's my bull case, is we get like 4 months of equal highs or something like that, and y'all can probably hear my kids going nuts in the background. It's a holiday. It's a holiday. Too, it's a holiday here in the U.S. and they're, you know, they have a lot of ETH, so they're like, Dad's talking bullish.
Let's go. No, I mean, I could see that too. That's why I'm saying, like, this is really tough for me because like at least on the higher time frames, like I'm down to buy like another crash basically, but I'm not down to like just buy here. Like there's nothing, no structure.
You don't like
nothing.
it. That's why it's a wall of worry though, because people like you don't want to step in until it gives you some confirmation one way or the other.
Yeah. And it's like, I think there's going to be an easier trade to be had. Now, you're obviously going to make more money if you catch the low, but I just think like headache-wise and in general, just a better trade, at least in my mind, is going to be either higher up or lower down.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I'm just, if you're in, there's not great justification to be out at the moment, like in the middle of that range.
And if you're not in, there's not really.
Like, yeah, that's why that's why the volume's going to go to 0 over the next 4 months. You know, like there's not like the volume should be. Game. Yeah, it's a waiting game.
Yep. Lower time frame wise, like on ETH, this is just choppy, and I think like if you get any bounce into like 3.2K, that's going to be an interesting one, where I could see like a complacency shoulder form. Now it doesn't have to, and I'm. Like for me, ETH BTC still looks bullish, so I'm just not going to like if I'm expecting a complacency bounce on crypto, I'm just not going to be trading it on ETH because I mean ETH BTC still looks fine, and I'll be concentrating on Bitcoin, which I think could easily put something in like a complacency bounce as well. And for me, like on the lower time frames, Bitcoin, I mean we've been hitting this support area several times, and every time we hit it, like people get more and more bearish. But given that we've had this massive wipeout, it makes a lot of sense to me anyway that we're going to go sideways here for a while. And that makes this lower area between like 32 and 34 really interesting for buying, and then like the area of 40K for selling. But I could see this break, like I could see this do something like, even could see it do something like that where it breaks both sides, but still ranges. So that's kind of my expectation going forward. Just a boring range where people get excited over like a bunch of like 2, 3, 4, 5% moves and think the bull or bear market is back on while it's just going sideways. So
I mean, even the current price, like that daily that you have your cursor on right now, like that wick, like where the daily closed, what is it, 35, 36? Basically all the selling that took place below that was forced selling, right? Those were like almost all licks. So even price like here, like 30, you know, obviously it's ideal to get 30, 33, 34, 35. Like that's great. I even think like, you know, being long here, let's say we do have a complacency shoulder and we go much lower. It's like being long from 35 to 37. I think it's pretty likely that we're going to at least tag 40. I have like 45 to 46 marked in my chart. So
I think
I even like being long here. I don't know.
This is worth qualifying what your time frame is. You know, if you're on the multi-year time frame, I think if you were averaging down in the low 30s, like entering with new fiat, you're probably going to be very happy. Multi-month, you might be bored. Low time frame, you might get retested. I don't know, but I don't think you can quite overestimate how freaking wrecked people got on that move, because this ecosystem was so levered up, and that destroyed everyone on leverage. And I'm not talking like they were hitting, you know, derivatives exchanges. I'm talking they were on Aave or they were using BlockFi, and they're getting margin called left and right, because even like whatever minimal leverage they use got wiped, because everybody was looking at Bitcoin and ETH, especially Bitcoin, like in that long consolidation range, like this will break up, this will break up, this will break up. And it went down 50-something% instead. I know some people's, what their liquidations or what their margin calls were at, and they were sweating it at like, you know, 50K, like when it looked like trash finally. And they were like, well, you know, here's my liquidation. Hope it doesn't hit that. And I saw it go through those numbers, and I was like, man, I hope those folks got their coins on BlockFi so they don't get freaking margin called. Like people got absolutely obliterated. And I'm thankful that I got spot obliterated because I didn't hedge very well, but like I was able to buy the dip some, I was able to do something, and I was not on margin during that time. And I think the degree of wreckage, even amongst people with a lot of money, was severe, man. And that's what creates a wick like that. And I think those tend to be bottoms. like what's gonna be better than that, you know, like other than like really a grinding bear, and I don't know that the macro lines up for that. What was it? Poke holes in that debate, in that argument.
So 50% of OI was wiped. That's the number that they quote a lot. I think it was probably much more
yes,
because of all the new positions that were open. Like think about how many people longed and kind of kept martingaling down from 46 down to 40. Then that level gives out. Then they start getting long again, 40, 35. You know, it's never going to go below 30K. Like the amount of new OI that opened during the dump, even on the day of the dump on the 19th, like OI that got wiped is probably, I mean, I'm just kind of guessing.
I think it's probably 80 or 90%.
Probably, yeah, like 80.
Well, I mean, think of the actual numbers on a 40% down day. You can't be more than 2x without a margin call. And what number of people trade at that level, even on those platforms where it's, you know, like a BlockFi type platform or, you know, the on-chain borrowing and stuff. I think it was almost completely people that were willing to step in with leverage, but they were more prepared, and everyone on leverage who didn't stop themselves out or do whatever they needed to do to take care of things. I think they just got obliterated.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what the crypto market does always, right? We had this discussion on Twitter or pretty much anywhere that crypto is now too mature to kind of go down more than like 30% or something. Do you guys remember that?
Oh yeah, I was totally wondering, like, okay, with Mr. Institutions in there, are our dips going to be lower? And the answer is no.
Nope.
It just pulls liquidity out of the system, so it's like we almost get greater spikes because it's the degenerate stuff that that offers all the liquidity boundaries.
Yeah, and I mean, retail's been trading this stuff for a while now. So, I mean, it's not surprising that we kind of get these days. And I think, like, legitimately think if you don't have anything set up to kind of catch these moves, you're doing yourself a disservice, right? Because something that I see in crypto a lot is that people just tend to all in. And I mean, if you're all in at 50K and you're happy at 64, right? And then stay all in and it crashes to like 28. You might get wrecked by that already, and you can't even take advantage of it, right? Like even if you're bleeding, like sometimes it's nice to just be like, okay, but I bought some more and feeling good about that ad, but you can't do it if you're all in, right? So it's like, in crypto, you always have to be prepared for this kind of stuff.
I've quoted or like summarized Sicarius when he said this on my show back in 2018 or something. And he said he would always try to build up to at least 25% dollar reserves, even in the height of bull markets. Like anytime something was overextended, he just was trying to ruthlessly take tiny profit to build up to this 25% cash position as things got hyped, because he wanted to be able to go buy the dip, because the dip always happened. And that put him in a position of power. And whether 25% in cash, maybe another 25% back to majors, because you looked at across the spectrum. If I don't remember the exact numbers of those dailies, but you know, wick to wick, if Bitcoin went 40%, dude, there were alts that went 60, 70% in a day.
Yeah, 70%.
60, 70. Yeah, it was like
it's insane. Yeah.
I talked to Sam last week about this over at Alameda, Sam Trebecco, and he didn't give the exact number of how much cash they have set aside for, you know, days like that in crypto, which are rare, right? Like that was one of the biggest moves we've had since March of last year. But like, what, they happen once or twice a year, you have to think, to the upside or to the downside. And he was saying it's a calculation based on, you know, if your expected value each day, let's say your portfolio can gain 1% a day, like, you know, and their expected value, they're at Alameda, is probably a lot higher than mine or yours or anyone else's. So it's like, if they set aside a certain amount for this, like they're losing that expected value they would have in the market. Like the average person should probably have like 5 times more cash set aside as a percentage of their portfolio, because you're not earning as much as they are every single day. And it kind of really made me think like, holy shit, like how much, you know, what is that number? Is it 25% or is it 30, 40? Like, I don't know.
I don't know if y'all saw the episode I don't know if y'all saw the episode of Weekly Open where we had Sam and some other folks on the Cred was on there. Mm-hmm. And I outright asked him, or I like speculated that they were the put buyer, and his face was just stony. You remember that epic put buyer that like
he has a great poker face though, regardless.
Yeah. And I think that they have better knowledge of almost anyone purely through the Alameda side, not the FTX side. to just identify when there's a cascade liquidation potential. Somebody in the chat was talking about this is just purely liquidation cascade. And if you see the potential of that, then it makes sense to do that type of protection. And I think some of the big players were prepared, some were not. I bet people went out of business in this that we haven't heard about yet. Like you hear the stories later, you know,
like March of last year.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, right? So like I got to buy like 33, 34 ish, and I got to sell the same day, or like pretty much like 20, 20 hours later up here. Like,
yeah, it wasn't even the same day. It was like 12 hours later, dude.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, this kind of gain, right? That's completely insane for that kind of amount of time.
My like DMs with cred are hilarious on that day.
And that's like, you catch that, you don't have to do anything during this crab shit, right? Because this is like this sideways kind of movement. It's not going to be for everyone, right? But like these liquidation type events, you always get like a big wick. It's just about not deploying too early. And even if you deploy early, because I bought some at 38, like I started buying at 38 and I went heavy at 33. Even that went into profit pretty much immediately after. It's just, you gotta survive the
so
week.
Somewhere at the dead ass bottom of those wicks, I get this message from cred: get out of the car, driving in pain. And it's just like, well, I'm finally back in the market. And I was like, well done, sir. He screenshotted his entries. It was like 32,000 on Bitcoin, 1800s on ETH. And he said, do I hold these forever? And I was just like, dude, yes. God, these are God tier, hold forever. And then like a day later, he's like, I sold everything. And I was like, no. And then 2 days later, it like fully retests. I don't know. I doubt he re-entered on that one, but I was like, screw you, man. You freaking king.
Yeah, he's pretty much been on the same boat where it's like, this is just unclear. And I mean, if you look at the high time frames, it really is, right? This could go either way. Like,
okay. We just lost everything. I may still be on the stream. I think I'm still on the stream. Hello, dear friends. I don't know what just happened, but my computer shut down. So, it's just us now. I'm going to look at chat. Find out what is the deal. Let's find out if we're still on air, okay? It looks like we are. So this is the beauty of a hardware solution. I can't show you the call. I can't show you the call. I can't pull the guys up again because my PC shut down. But the stream goes on. So why don't we just talk, okay? Here's what we're going to talk about. Still on. Rugly open. Yo. I rugged both. Yeah. I'll pull y'all back on the stream if y'all are watching this now. I see you are, Luke. What do y'all want to talk about? Ask me anything. That's what we'll do. We'll do an AMA. Chat, you have to say something right now so that I know what to talk about. How about are we going to make it? I actually think the ETH low time frame stuff is pretty constructive. We haven't had a chance to get to this yet. Hopium overloaded your computer. Yes, I am coming to Miami. Ledger, I offer to let you stay at my mom's house in Miami. Let's talk about EIP. Brian only. Okay, well, that's good topics. All right, low time frame. I actually think ETH is pretty constructive. It looks like it wants to do more stuff. People are still way under leveraged, so like I'm pretty confident there. The higher time frames, as Don talked about, are a little dicey. Will BTC follow the Wyckoff? I don't know. Jack, my buddy Jack, killed the Wyckoff trade. Crypto Jack, if you know him. My t-shirt looks inside out. Dude, I think it is. My t-shirt is inside out. I'm struggling here. That's hilarious. It's my Solana shirt. I had to turn it inside out. All right. Hey, but ETH's pumping 26.34. Let me open up Zoom, guys, and then I think we'll be able to go back on. Y'all tell spam Don and Luke to open the Zoom back. EIP 1559. What do you mean? Not
Yeah, I guess it is.
Hey.
Yo.
How about that?
We're back online, huh?
We're back.
You're still online on the stream.
Yeah, I know. I've been talking to the chat.
I know.
So I was just complaining. I was just complaining about my hardware-based solution and how much of a pain in the ass it is. This is actually why I do it. Because even when my entire computer shuts down, I'm still alive.
No, that's impressive.
Yeah.
So we just had a little me time with the stream, so it's okay.
I don't even know what we talked about before.
Well, we were talking about the high time frames, but now I want to look at the low time frames of ETH. And somebody was asking about 1559, and also they told me my shirt was inside out, which it is. I didn't realize it.
Is it?
Yeah.
You know, now that you say it, yeah.
When I go,
shoulder,
I just didn't even, dude. It's been a struggle, man. Kids are home.
God.
Wife went to work early, and I was trying to set up all this crap again. Anyway, when I look at 1559, like nothing has changed there for me. So we're about to burn so much Ethereum that I feel like Ethereum still has a chance to outperform. Don, can you pull up the ETH low time frame chart?
I guess the only chance of bust on that catalyst is that it gets pushed back again. Like every Ethereum update ever. And I don't even know if that's a possibility with something like EIP 1559, because isn't there a fork so that it actually is like kind of set in stone? But
if it can be pushed back, Ethereum people will figure out how to do it. So I think you're right. That is the bear case.
That's the bear case. Is they're like, it didn't go as well in testing as we would have thought. We have to wait another month. That turns into 3 months. That turns it like we've been waiting on ETH upgrades. I swear I've been waiting on the same one since 2017. Yeah. I've read about it in 100 articles. It still isn't here. That's the only one. I don't know.
I love the low time frame look on this. I'm gonna rogue you here in a second.
Oh, even lower than the daily.
What's that?
Do you want to have even lower than the daily?
Yeah. Who uses the daily?
Yeah, I mean,
Ledger's on 20x. Give us the 5-minute chart.
I am looking at an hourly chart at the moment.
Okay.
Like, when I look at this, it looks fine to me, Like, it looks like a potential recovery in action. Purely from a higher lows, higher highs on the local time frame. Obviously, we're getting closer to that resistance. So the next thing is what's going to happen at like 2,800. And I expect it to pull off some from there. But if it can then make another higher low, etc., it may have a chance, like to show strength and clear that, whatever that is, 2,900. So I'm not like afraid of being in this at the moment. I'm in this. I'm margin long right now, so I'm happy.
Nice.
I think the other thing to consider, if you have an ETH BTC chart, actually, I might just pull mine up, is you're right. Like, it doesn't look horrible. Where we just topped last week, like that resistance, that 0.07, 0.08, that's been the area ever since we broke 0.04 that I thought we would see resistance. And like, so we're almost there again. Like this little block, I imagine we're going to have trouble. Then again, if we start getting back above what, 0.077, 0.08, that's probably going to be when ETH is at 2,900, 3K. So, if we get back above 0.07, 0.08, I don't see how ETH, I think that could even take ETH through 3,200.
Right.
On that block that
I think that's how ETH continues to recover. Bitcoin chops and ETH BTC goes to the promised land.
Chads through. Like, I have to see it above 0.07, high 0.07s, 0.08.
Sure, but this is not, if you look at it on a relative chart, that's not an unhealthy chart.
Oh, no, the chart still looks great, honestly.
And if you consider, like, what that is, like that 0.05, which was the bottom, was the forever support that it broke through. Like, that was our magnet on the other end of this that it chatted through. So it looks like a perfect retest move ahead. If you're on a relative basis, you still have no reason to be bearish Ethereum in my mind.
I totally agree. It just looks good. I mean, it all depends. Like, I don't like ETH doing well if Bitcoin doesn't. Like, I want at least
that was your
both of
warning
them
sign
to
before,
go.
wasn't it?
Yeah, that was basically me. Like, that's why I was like pretty bearish in the 60K range, because we had all these altcoins flying and Bitcoin didn't. If that happens again, I'm just going to assume like the top's in for real for the cycle, and I was just going to see like a little like alt season to kind of finish it off. But as long as Bitcoin and ETH go up together, I mean, no warning signs there, I think. And I mean, ETH BTC looks fine. Like that's the thing. Like that's the one thing that I see people do wrong, like most often, where they're like, okay, I'm bearish Bitcoin, and when Bitcoin goes down, ETH goes down harder, so I'm just going to short ETH, and then just kind of try to translate that setup over, and then they get stopped out like at the top or like at like a bad time in the market. It's never a good thing. Like if you have a setup on one coin, or if you think like the top's in on one coin, doesn't have to mean the top's in for everything else. And even like, who knows if the top's in or not? I mean, I think it is, but
you think it is for like years?
For like a year, maybe two.
Yeah. Double bubble potential.
Yeah, I mean, I could see us go like down, like for Bitcoin, right? I could see us go down a bit, chill in like the 20K range, chill there for quite a while, and then continue upwards again. And I mean, nothing would be broken if that happened. We could wick to either side crazily like we've done in the past. But for me, it's just like I've basically been trading this like I've traded the 17-18 bubble, which we had like these old, like the old season, we had old coins go crazy back in 17-18. That led basically to the Bitcoin top, or was like an indication of the Bitcoin top anyway. We had the same thing in the 60K range. So I've just been
would you equate what we're in right now being the type of zone where we consolidated to like 12K, and then the market really ended after that that portion of the bubble?
Yeah.
No, not that version of 12K. Like after the top. You remember?
Yeah, you mean,
in like January, February of 2017?
Sideways thing, yeah.
You think we already did that? Like the equivalent of that?
I think we're basically in there. Now I could be completely wrong, and we just complacency bounce. And like this is all just me guessing, right? But it could be that we're just doing like a complacency bounce out of here and then do it. No idea. And I could be completely wrong too. But that's kind of where I think we're in the cycle anyway. And I don't think we're going to do the same thing where we just like, if this breaks down, right, and then finds a bottom like this again, I don't think we're going to do this whole breakdown part again. I think it's just going to be sideways and then up. And I mean, I'd be fine with that, like in the 20K range. And then maybe like have like crazy wicks below, maybe whatever, no idea. But that's kind of like where my head's at. And I'm going to change that view if we get back into like the 55 range. Like if we get back above 55, I'm more than happy to just buy back what I sold into the 60s and go from there. Because then like I just sat through like a crash into recovery and ready to go to 100K or whatever. And otherwise, I'll just try to buy the dip when it goes lower into 20K range. That's my plan.
I tend to think this is all highly related to what happens on the dollar and fiat currencies. Which looks like, in my mind, that it wants to freaking puke. Like, the Dixie looks so bad. Like, really, really, really bad. Have y'all taken a look at that at all?
No, I haven't. Do you have it pulled up? I don't have that on my...
Yeah, I'm a little hesitant. I don't know what the source of my brokenness was.
I mean, I can share. I haven't looked at it in a while, but I can share it.
Also, Don, you have one request from the chat. They said, can you just say Bitcoin to 100K one time?
Just say it.
They want that included in your outlook.
I mean, that's literally what I said, didn't I? Like, I literally said, like, if we go back about 55, 60K, Bitcoin to 100K, easy peasy.
Yeah, but you said you also think the bull market's over. You just got to say it definitively. Bitcoin is going to 100K.
I mean, in general, at some point, yeah, I think so. Bitcoin's going to
Halo, there you go.
Don
Halo,
can't
I
help
did
but
it.
qualify
I
himself.
rested. There we go. There we go.
At some point, yeah. I'm just not saying tomorrow or like in a year's time. Just saying like at some
2050.
point.
If you want to see the
Next
difference
50
between
years.
Don and I, Don's like,
Easy.
let me open up this chart. I guess I'll start on the monthly. You know? But look at even on the monthly, like this is if this is as support, and this could hyper die. Is basic.
Yeah,
It looks
I agree.
so
Looks
bad.
shit.
Looks so bad. And if that goes down, it goes to 86.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad I don't have to trade this shit because I'd be completely getting wrecked on this. Like,
Yeah, man. FX is just for people that have not found crypto yet. Like, I don't know why anyone trades it anymore. I'm serious. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, look
It's
down
brutal.
at the like even at like the daily or yeah, look at the daily
Mm.
on that. Don.
okay, give me a sec.
Like if and when you look at this relative to some of the stuff that I use, like moving averages and stuff, that wick, that bearish wick there, it just pounded right into a fast moving average, like a 20-day or something, and got absolutely instantly rejected off of it. And this is one of the things that just prevents me from being bearish crypto and makes me think like this is just washing people out before a better move up, because Dixie looks like it's getting wrecked. Gold is showing strength. Like there's some weird, like the stock market kind of refuses to suck more. Like the stock market's ripe to go down. And even though like there's a rotation out of growth stuff, it's still kind of holding up and looking pretty strong on the main indices. All this strikes me as things like Bitcoin could do really well still. And it just, I have a hard time being bearish. Unless we're the swan song before the party stops. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of we're in this weird situation where like the narrative lines up really well, right? Even like at 60K, that's the thing. Like sometimes I would say crypto just kind of front ran the narrative, like the inflation narrative. The moment like we got actually like numbers that supported that narrative, basically like right around that time we did like a 50% jump to the downside, right? So it's like I think we front ran that narrative, and if it picks up more steam, I think crypto is probably going to pick up more steam again. It's just a question of have we front ran it, like because thinking about it, right? We went from basically 10K, like we ranged around 10K to 60K on that narrative, and
yeah, that's a big run on the exact narrative. I totally agree with you.
Yeah. So it's like I could see even if that narrative plays out, us to just go sideways because we've already done like quite a big move. But if it goes any crazier, obviously, I mean, Bitcoin's probably going to do well.
So gold did something similar, right? Like it broke its all-time high and then consolidated painfully for like 4 or 5 months. And now it finally looks strong again because the narrative didn't change, right? My dog is going nuts.
What even is the narrative for gold, man? Like, how are people actually still buying gold? 2021.
Well, because it's a hard asset still.
I know. I get that. It's just I look at it. I'm like, man, it's the same as FX for me. It's like people are buying gold because
But look how punishing that all-time high was, and now look at the recovery finally. But this is a monthly basis. That's 6-8 months of absolute devastating pain, while everyone else was making money, and you're just not. It's really
everyone
painful.
got hilariously rich during that time.
Yeah, and like the gold bugs are just extraordinarily coping. And that also looks like a this is over for you thing, except for the narrative doesn't fit that. Like the narrative, other than Bitcoin taking market cap away from gold, is still that gold is a good asset to own in this macro environment. And it looks like it's actually trying to prove that out now.
What do you think? Like, could this be like we had like this drop now, we get a bounce? Like, couldn't we just do the same thing basically with Bitcoin, just delayed? Basically, we had
that's my point. That's my point. That's exactly what I think it's going to do.
And then we're going to wipe everything below 28 and then moon. I mean, I could see that too.
I think that dip is we already had that. I think that low, that 28.
Do you think like the
30K.
second one we've already had?
Yeah, I think we already have. I honestly do.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I'll believe in that hopium. That's fine. But
Dishing it out.
I listen to a lot of legacy market stuff, and they're like, people are excited about owning some of these gold miners and having exposure to stuff outside of tech that still has good valuations, plenty of upside, etc. And I actually think that gold run looks pretty good, and I don't see an example. I do not see a scenario where Bitcoin like goes to 20K or some crap like that, while gold and gold miners and value based stuff or hard asset based stuff is doing well in legacy. That's just fundamental narratives for me, though. It's probably a way to steal my wealth.
No, it's difficult, right? Kind of consolidating too, because the fundamental side of things, I mean, that's gonna make you believe in your kind of trade more, but sometimes they get you. But someone in the chat says I'm always negative, dude. I was one of the few people that was buying this mega wick to the downside. I will not listen to it.
Yeah, Don is positive when everyone else is capitulating.
Yeah, I mean, that's just my market. When everyone's getting wrecked, I mean, that's just where I wake up and start having fun.
And people should keep that in mind. Like, you came on the scene in crypto Twitter because you were making money in the bear market when everyone else was just like coping all the time.
Yeah,
and most people forget that.
That's why I started. Like, I mean, for me, it's kind of the same thing. When I have like a strong view on something, like for me, 17, 18, I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure for now the top's in and we're going to go sideways. And I just traded that way. And I mean, we went sideways for a long, long time, and that did me really well. And
because basically you buy every capitulation and you sell every rip. Like, every time it hits structural resistance, it was a successful trade, as the hopium dealers are like buying the resistance in the type of market where they should be selling it.
Yeah. And it's like, it's not even like, let's say if you're expecting sideways here, which I am, right? I'm not saying I'm expecting like 20K from here. This could as much go to 50K as it could go to 20K in my mind.
But it also tells you to sell before 40K.
Yeah. It's like you do this over and over and over again.
Until it tells you not to.
Yeah. And I mean, that way you're going to make money. And even if this goes like to 50K after you sold 40K, I'm not saying short 40K long, like I've been only on the buy side, right? I've been buying this and selling at resistance, and that's what I've been doing. So you can play this however you want to, right? If you're bearish, macro, you're not going to do that like what I'm doing, which is buying support, selling resistance. You're going to be shorting resistance and buying back support. And that's like how you can kind of frame this range to your advantage, because if you're right, you're going to make more that way, or the trade's going to be more secure, right? For me, I'm just like, I can't see us go like too low below like this 32 to 28 without a big bounce. So I'd much rather be on the buy side than on the sell side. But I mean, if you're bearish, you can do the exact opposite. And then even if you sell the resistance and it goes higher, I mean, you still make money, right? It's just a trade.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you. I honestly, I'm talking more like my fundamental bullishness, but I'll play things similarly. I just will have to make my decisions about what I rotate in and out of. So as bullish as I am on DeFi, I may hold less DeFi as we hit some of these resistance areas. Like, I don't mind holding DeFi right now because it's recovering just as quickly or more quickly than Bitcoin and ETH. But I think people will rotate to more conservative things as we start to show any sign of weakness, and that'll basically mean like the further you go down, the more reflexivity you get, so that the DeFi down days are worse than ETH down days, and that could be punishing on the relative pairs for until people get more confidence in the bull, basically.
Yeah,
it takes a while. It takes a while for that momentum to build. It's like this idea. I think, even if you're positive on Bitcoin, like I am, until 45, 46, it's not like we're just going to chat up to 58, 60K in like 1 week. Sure, it could happen. I think it's really...
That means like we have some huge news to cause that, though.
Yeah, but you have to look at like, when did momentum really kick in for Bitcoin? Like, we were rising, for like 9 months straight from that 3K, we dicked around it at 10K. even like when we're moving up from 16 to 20K, like we were going up fast, but it wasn't like this. Like momentum just takes a while to build because every single week that goes
this
on,
looks like a popped bubble. Like you look at it right there, it looks like a popped bubble. So you need time in the market to prove that it's not a popped bubble and that it's some kind of like extraordinary long-term consolidation instead.
Yeah, it's just the idea that like if you're long your longs and you're getting more aggressive as things go up, it's like so is the guy next to you. And then it becomes as you both are stacking your bids, you're both kind of helping accelerate that momentum. But momentum doesn't go 0 to 100 in one step. It's like 0 to 1.5. And then 10% of that is a little bit faster and faster each week. So momentum just takes a while to build. And even if we do start going up, it's not going to be, at least I don't think it's going to be a rocket ship straight up. I think it takes some time.
Why don't we wrap it up with the main thing we want to watch on the week before I lose my connection again? I'm afraid it's going to happen again. I need to re-audit.
Yeah, I'm done.
You don't want any? What do you want to watch this week?
So I mean, for me, basically, when you have, we talked about this last week, I think, on this show. I've done it on my own channel, but when you have like all coins look basically like this, right?
R.I.P.
like
me.
You have like this. I mean, I've shilled Aave. I've been looking for an entry, and then it basically like I was lucky that it was bearish Bitcoin, just basically canceled bids because I mean I would have gotten wrecked by this as well. But like when you have like all coins look like this, I'm just not gonna be entertaining the thought of buying them unless they flip this, and it's not really that much away, right? So.
Yeah. But that breakout and then nuke is unbelievable. What did it wick up to before it nuked? What's the range?
680.
660. Yeah.
660. Up down to 200.
Yeah. God. Like that's a nuke of basically 70% in no time at all. And
I can't tell if that just means it's game over or did it just unleash, like it just wrecked everyone and now it can like work its way up, like.
Yeah, we got ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
It's basically like a 50-50 of either this is the biggest bottom ever.
Yeah.
Or we've already
just a turbo.
It's going to 0.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, it's the same way that like we probably sold off too hard. It's like on the way up, we probably overshot. Like, longs get licked when we crash that hard, but it's like shorts were getting licked for months. Like anyone shorting was getting licked. So that pushed us higher, probably, unjustifiably high. You can only see that in hindsight. Like I can't say that.
But what's funny is out of these coins, Aave deserved it. Whereas like, XRP, even after all this crap, no offense to Luke's desire to trade it, $1 for XRP is insanely stupid.
Should be higher.
It's insanely stupid though. Like
should be higher, dude.
That's a bad price for XRP.
I don't know.
But it was it was hovering at $1.50 plus, and it spent a week and a half at those types of levels at the peak of the 2017 bull market.
Dude, what happens when they shrug off this SEC case? I'm not saying they should, but I think if EOS could do it, I think XRP is going to have no problem. I'm not saying, look, XRP long term, I think you're
goes
better
to
off.
zero.
You're literally better off buying BitConnect. But I think as a trade, it's like the most hypersensitive thing in the world to news. And if we've learned one thing, it's that these shitcoin projects with giant backings will pay a fine and walk away. And there's going to be a ton of people that buy XRP when they get their.
So Luke, is XRP your thing to watch on the week?
XRP is not my thing to watch.
All right, what's your thing to watch? What's your thing to watch?
Talking about XRP. My thing
I know you and Brad are like best buds. That's what's really happening here.
I don't have as much respect for Brad, but we won't talk about that on the show. I'm going to keep it positive. I think he gets a little out of line on CNBC and Bloomberg with some of the narratives they talk about. But anyways, I'm a fan of it because I'm bullish XRP. Anyways, what I want to look at still is ETH. I think it's kind of the only thing I've been in tune with lately. To be quite honest, ETH at this level, like the level we're at right now, where we topped earlier this week or last week. This is what to watch. Like how we react in here. Are we just going to kind of consolidate? If we blast above 0.07, 0.08, I'm not even counting on it really happening this week. I do think it's possible in June though. And if we get back above 0.077, 0.08, I think it's going to be a really nice barometer for, are people willing to start taking risk again and like not, just slowly bid small, but ETH above 0.08, that's like full blown bull again. So, I don't know if that happens next week. I don't think it's likely that it does. I think if it happens in June, though, I guess I'd be scared, but I'd be bullish. Like it'd be so hard not to be bullish. ETH attacking those local highs already, going into an insane catalyst. And it's like, I don't know how you could look at that and say, we didn't recover. This thing can't go higher. Like above 0.08 for ETH, I'm uber bullish ETH.
Yeah.
That's what I'm watching.
I'm kind of with you on that. So one of the things that's been going out there is how many stable coins are in the market right now. And people are like, well, those stable coins are going to stay in crypto and they're going to buy the dip or something like that. There is an alternative. This is like be careful about your stablecoin talk, because the other thing stablecoins can be used as is just deposit as collateral and then short the balls off absolutely every altcoin that, Aave and Compound type protocols support, because you just borrow altcoins and sell them and use your stablecoins as collateral. So stablecoins are very useful in a bull market. They can exist in crypto because there's yield, or there's a on-chain trade. It's not only to buy the dip. But I would like to see if stablecoin flows move into risk. And like you, Luke, I'm looking to see if my gut tells me Ethereum is still the more volatile, more fun trade when you're actively trading these things.
Oh, definitely.
That said, the biggest thing I'm probably going to do this week is identify large cap DeFi relative to ETH, and the higher ETH rolls, I'll probably push more, like just kind of slowly risk off some of my DeFi blue chip exposure into ETH as long as ETH's strong, and into stable coins if I'm sensing some kind of weakness or distribution, which I don't want to do that. I don't want to stay exposed to the market, but I feel like I'll get a good bit of upside in ETH, and the downside on DeFi stuff, like I think people are going to be hungry to sell those quickly if the market starts to show weakness, and I don't want to get caught up in that again, especially with this strong, like relatively strong bounce off the absolute lows, like if you look at some of those DeFi projects. So I'm still bullish on it. I just want to be more cautious about when I'm trading it. So I'm looking at these relative strength pairs between, take like an Aave versus ETH, or a Wi-Fi versus ETH, and then ETH versus BTC. That's what I got. Anything else you guys want to leave folks with?
Not really. No, I mean, I'm expecting sideways. So, I mean, that's the most boring thing to expect.
Don loves the sideways. It's natural state. He's just going to fade every wick where someone else gets scared. That's the Don trade. Someone asked in the chat, how do we trade bear markets? That needs to be a topic that we discuss on another show, Don.
Try not to trade bear markets.
Don loves to trade bear markets. That's what they want.
Don does. I don't think that people in the chat should. I honestly think bear market is when you stop watching this stream, you buy once a month, and you turn on the stream when things are funny. When your Blockfolio is firing up, turn on the stream again and start having fun.
You can't leave people by saying, don't watch this show.
Look, I'm saying if Bitcoin's back at 8K, yeah, you don't need to tune in on Monday. That's gonna be brutal scenes. Look, I'm just saying, it's honest truth. In a bear market, most people shouldn't be trading. Like it's gonna be a tough game. It's not fun.
Well, I still believe for now. We'll wait and see. Thanks everybody for being here, and you know the rules. Go to weeklyopen.com/blockfolio. Check us out, upvote the stream, check out the replay, share it with your friends. Thanks for being patient with us during the technical difficulties. We'll catch you next time. Y'all have a good one.
Say hi in Miami.
Heck yeah. Find me and Luke. Luke will buy you a beer. I'll ask for one.
Depending on the price of XRP, I'll buy a whole round.
Bye-bye.